whole little thing that went, and for some reason we didn't even look and see. So welcome to Witches Movie Coven. I am one of your hosts, as I already said before, but you weren't here, so it doesn't matter. So I am one of your hosts, Richard-Lael. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a dick. I mean, a D. I would say that out loud. Anyway, with that, Miss Patti Negri is the busiest woman in showbiz. She is the busiest witch around, and she will be flying in and out on occasion as the night progresses. And tonight, we have a real stunner of a film for you.
Sorry.
The Conjurer. But before we get into the film, let me introduce my friends, our co-hosts, your friends. First of all, Miss Courtney Buckley.
That's me again. I'm Courtney Buckley. I'm Ghostbait on Scared and Alone. I have my wand ready for hexing and my sunglasses ready in case anyone's opinions differ from my own.
Very good, very good.
Jason!
I'm ready tonight.
Since Jason, you are there, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Jason Mankey?
I am Jason Mankey. I am a harmless drudge and witchcraft author, having written 9 books for Llewellyn over the last 7 years, and tormentor of Courtney Buckley.
And I will tell you, Jason, your shirt is tie-dye for.
Thank you. But I thought I needed to be festive tonight. I just had a feeling that we needed some extra festiveness.
Well, speaking of being festive, Miss Heather Greene looking lovely in her lovely pinks and pastels. Heather Greene, ladies, gentlemen, boys and ghouls.
Well, thank you very much. I did, as I was saying before the show started, I have changed some of my colors up based on the wonderful witch Michael Herkes, who has done something called glamstrology to march your astrology to use your astrology to create your signature style. So I've been using that and talking that up because coming from growing up in New York City, this was something that really just rang true with me. So I've been having fun with that. So thank you very much for noticing my new witchcraft, so to speak. I am Heather Greene. I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft. It is a definitive guide to witches and witchcraft in American movies and television. I am a film historian, a journalist, and I am also an editor at Llewellyn and Llewellyn Worldwide, working with authors like Jason Mankey on fabulous witchcraft and occult books. So I guess we need to get started then.
We should get started. Normally Miss Patti Negri would toss to me and we'd talk about an unbiased plot summation of our film. And I think I should do that. So I will start by saying there have been so many films that I have started and fallen asleep on, and this is not one, unfortunately.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not telling you what my opinion is because it may surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
It may surprise you. So this film is 2008. If you thought it was The Conjurer, surprise! I mean the Conjuring. If you thought it was a Conjuring, you are incorrect. If you thought it was a Conjurer, you are also incorrect. So it is The Conjurer. I go around. I am a conjurer. So this film, where do I first begin? Okay. So in New York City, where Heather Greene used to live, was this family who go into the emergency room because they are expecting a baby, and of course there is no heartbeat. And obviously the doctor is wrong, and surely that I have to have a baby. And because of this, she ends up by convincing her husband to move to upstate New York in an old farmhouse that for some reason the Duke boy, the Trump one, the Duke boy is actually the brother, but I thought it was sort of a lover.
Yes.
It was a weird relationship, right? It was so creepy, and I thought he was going to be the lover, but he's not. He's really just the brother, and he is going to, for some reason, knock down an old cabin at the other end of the property because that's where the kitchen goes. Why is the kitchen that far away? Why is there a cabin there? We may never know. But with that, so this young couple who have 1 year later moved upstate New York have taken over this old house, which you find out has had some history. There is a legend of an old witch who had once lived in the old cabin and for whatever reason I think it said that she became pregnant and then she was with somebody and then the man killed the baby and then she decided to go after anything that could have a uterus. And though she hated the man who impregnated the woman and she wanted the baby, but then she was also an imagination, but she wasn't really there, but she was there, but she wasn't there. And then the man decides that he wants to, he inexplicably takes photographs and he sees this witch. And then he goes to the library and finds out, oh, by the way, they find out that she's pregnant again. And then he goes to the library and he gets this book that just happens to fall out from nowhere. This image of a crow, and it is a witch's familiar. And of course, there's this old crow that shows up and he gets angry and he starts chasing after this crow and throwing things at it. And then the crow kills the dog after he says that he wants the dog to kill the crow. And then he buys a trap and then he has a sword fight with this crow. And he almost loses. I mean, a knife fight with a crow and he almost loses. And then he ends up by somehow or another, there is the witch in the cabin, but she's escaped because there was a vial that was broken and she's after the wife. But then the brother, who was also the lover, who was not the lover, had given a fishing pole and a gun for whatever reason. And I thought that there was going to be some sort of creepy mange a trois, but there wasn't. And then he ends up by starting to lose his mind, and he goes to the house of the man who he bought the house from, and he's trying to talk to the mother, and you find out, dun dun dun, she's been dead for a year. And he goes back, and of course the witch comes in and attacks, and he accidentally shoots in the direction of his wife. Of course, you find out that his father was crazy, and his father murdered his mother in a similar manner some 20, 30 years before, and he accidentally almost shoots the woman. The woman runs and hides and calls the creepy Duke boy Trumpy brother, and then the police show up the next morning because apparently that's the way the police work in upstate New York, and they haul him away to the loony bin. And then it closes with the fact that he is calling from the asylum to say, they say that I'm so much better now and I'm coming home. And meanwhile, it closes with the woman looking into the camera in some creepy sort of way. And that was the end of the movie, I think.
Yeah.
So, yes.
That's the one I watched.
I was watching one that had Lorraine Warren in it, and they go to this big house in Georgia and it's haunted. Like, right? Isn't that the one we were supposed to watch?
It would have been better if we would have. Yes. But maybe we have someone who can give a little historical context to this glorious cinematic triumph. Miss Heather Greene, is this in your book?
Yeah, yes, it is. And I'm going to respond to that in a little bit. But right now I'm going to stick to the top 5 things you need to know about this movie. So I'm going to give you the top 5 things and then elaborate as I try to do every week. So I have my list here. So first, facts. I'm going to give you a few facts about this movie. Then why have you never seen it before? 2, context. This was made in 2018 or released in 2018. So let's look at context of the time and why this movie was made. Then I want to look at real quick witchcraft, how it's treated. Then we'll talk about the ghost witch. Who is she? Who is Hattie? And then wild spaces in the cabin, which are central to this film. It's almost like a character. So first, let's look at facts. This was created by, and I have to turn my page because I can't remember the director's name off the top of my head. It is Clint Hutchinson, he also wrote it or co-wrote it. It was released in 2008. It's an indie film that was released in a festival, and then it went direct to DVD by November. And that's probably why you probably never heard of it or seen it.
I can't imagine why it went direct to DVD.
I am going to just let me finish. Then we're gonna go to number 2. Shh.
I can think of 5 more reasons.
Sit down.
I think Heather's going to send us all to our rooms without dinner.
Hey, I have children. I know how to do that. Number 2, the context, 2008. Now, witchcraft films, as I've always said, they ended the popularity in by 1999. But Blair Witch Project came out, right? Blair Witch Project ignited a new interest in paranormal. Okay, specifically ghost films, specifically ones that had legend and legend tripping, and of course witches. So this went on throughout the 2000s. There was a huge number of paranormal films, and a lot of them had ghost witches in them. Think of Paranorman. You had The Conjuring was later, but you had Paranorman you had The Woods. More Blair Witch. I mean, there was in TV. There's a ton of them, and this went on throughout even to 2008. Witches Night, which is another indie film, which is really fun to watch, but we can't get it, so we can't screen it here. But this was what this was. This was part of the Blair Witch phenomenon, the paranormal ghost witch films. Okay, so that's what we're looking.
Oh, you went
We
mute.
lost Heather's. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. There it is. Am I back?
I think you're back. I think the ghost witch was after you.
I'm telling you, I didn't touch anything, and all of a sudden, shut me off. I think
It's
that's
the ghost witch.
someone. Y'all.
No.
Okay.
Oh, she's off again.
What?
This movie is cursed.
I'm literally, my hands are right here. I'm not touching anything.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. I am going to move.
Hands up,
this.
Heather.
Hands up right here. Hands up. Look.
Jazz hands, everyone. Jazz hands.
Okay, so number 4. Who is Hattie and the Ghost Witch? Okay, so as I said, Ghost Witch is really, really popular at this time. You had Ghost Game, and you had a bunch of these stories of this ghost witch who was tied to a legend. Some of them are 300 years old, which ties to what, Courtney? Salem. If they're 300 years old, there's always a Salem element. This is not a Salem element film, although it borrows from the idea. It is this witch Hattie was 150 years old, and it was not New York State. It actually was the South. That's why it's the Civil War mentioned it.
Oh,
She's
right.
actually in the South. They call the husband, they call a Yankee. That was the cue that this they had moved south. So
thank you for mentioning that. I wasn't really paying as close attention.
and they all had slight Southern accents too, but I don't know exactly where it was. But anyway, so this ghost witch is borrowing from a legacy. Not only some of it, but even so, it ties to Salem, because this ghost witch and a lot of these ghost witches starting at this era were women who were somehow wronged. There's a lot of them. They were wrong somehow. It wasn't just that they were coming back for revenge and they were satanic, like in the 70s ghost witches. These were actually women who were wrong. This witch moved onto this property, and she was impregnated by this rich landowner who then didn't want to show her or this child, killed the child, and then had her killed as a witch. This is a common story. This dates back to Hawthorne. So this story goes back to Hawthorne's tale, Feathertop, and a lot of his work. And of course, Hawthorne grew up in what city?
New York City.
So it does tie to Salem in that way through Hawthorne. But this is a Hawthorne-esque tale. And the ghost witches at this time really have that. And witches going forward from this point on really have that. This idea that the witch is someone who has been a woman abused and scorned and killed for wrongdoing. So that is actually a lecture I'm going to be doing at Mystic South, but that's another point. Now let's talk about witchcraft real quick. Witchcraft in this film is designated as not evil, not satanic. In fact, she's called a natural, what does they say she does? She does natural arts. They don't call her a witch. It's the artist. It's the Yankee that calls her a witch first. She's a conjurer. She performs the natural arts. My sense is the original Hattie was actually a granny, an Appalachian healer. And that's what she was until this encounter with this landowner that impregnated her and then killed her child, et cetera, et cetera. So that's sort of what they were building towards. Is it perfect representation of witchcraft? No, but it wasn't supposed to be Wicca in this case. They kind of, because it was 2008, they didn't go full on satanic evil witch. They kind of did this healer thing and then kind of played into the normal paranormal witch thing that you see with a lot of these films. And then finally, wild spaces. The cabin is a wild space. It's adjacent to the woods. Think about The Witch, the movie The Witch. Witches and wild women are always linked to magic, mystery, danger. And you see this repeated over and over, specifically in these movies, especially in the horror movies, especially in the witch horror movies and ghost movies. Look at, again, Ghost Game and The Woods. And a lot of the movies at this time, there's an episode of Bones that does it. There's always this Blair Witch Project. There's always this connection between the wild wood and the witch. And that is what this film is doing. This is all of these things are happening within this story. And that is a little bit of facts and figures and fun themes and film nerdy stuff from this film. So I will let it go and then I'll give you my opinion in a little bit.
Speaking of wild witches and wild women, Miss Patti Negri says, "Hi, Coven family. Missing you. TV crew is leaving. And though I didn't see the movie, lucky you, Miss Patti Negri. I will say hi in a bit just because I miss you." So yes, Miss Patti Negri in the comments. With that, those of us who did watch this movie, I'm certain there might be some opinions. Who would like to start their opinions? Miss Courtney Buckley, you look like you have things to say.
I can't hold it back any longer.
Listen, I am so sick of coming on this show and complaining about movies that every time I sit down, I'm like, you know what? This is going to be the one. Even if it's bad, I'm going to love it because like Love at Stake was the last one I liked. And there was a while in between, but I was like, I could not figure out what was happening. First, the movie starts and it looks like it was filmed on a potato. Or
Yes.
on the flip, what was that? Then, as we all know, my job here, my one job is quotes. This script was written by a drunk 12-year-old, and there is not one quotable line in the whole movie. It was like a corn movie without the boobs and butts. It was like the plot was just not there. There was no dialogue. It was like the same dialogues the whole time, and the only exciting part was the knife fight with the crow that I got a little thrilled by, but everything else, he goes into the cabin and there's a vine with teeth. Why? The vine bit him with a tooth and then it was infected for the rest of the time. Please have it lance, get it drained, move on. Okay, I can't. Then he sees the boy in the woods, right? And you think for 1 second it's going to be a ghost boy. Not me, because I was like, that boy is wearing a camouflage shirt in the woods. Okay? He is actually wearing camouflage in the woods. There's no way that this movie can sink low enough to have the ghost wear camouflage. And I was right. So I was excited about that. But then, they killed the dog for no reason. That dog, first of all, I didn't even know they had a dog. That was a surprise. The dog just showed up. The brother lover, please. It took me, that's the only reason I started paying attention to the movie, because I was trying to figure out what they called him. Because I was like, can't be your dad, right? Why is he holding her waist like that? This is uncomfortable to watch. And then I was like, oh, just like Richard-Lael, I thought, maybe there's going to be, it is a softcore, so maybe there's going to be a little action between the three of them. And then I will have something to look at. And no, also that didn't happen. So I don't know. It was just like he like the frothing at the mouth, like he was just getting hysterical the whole time. This like main guy, whatever he was doing, it was the wildest thing I've ever seen. And it was the whole thing was so poorly acted that it was painful. It was absolutely painful to watch. And I think the premise was great. I love the wild space thing. I love the cabin that is its own character. Like it had such potential to be really, really cool. And there was no script. So surprise, I have no quotes tonight. None. Because there was not one quotable line. Unless you want me to do Rah! Because that was like the only other thing that happened was the weird screaming for no reason. So
that was incredible insight, Ms. Courtney Buckley. Mr. Jason Mankey, what do you have going on underneath those golden locks of yours?
I cannot get over Courtney saying this movie was filmed on a potato, because there was like a weird, whoever filmed this, it just looks weird the whole way through. Like it's not quite professional. I mean, sometimes I felt like I was watching one of our YouTube special sort of movies. And I don't expect streaming to always be brilliant and to look as good as a film in a cinema. But this, for as late as it was, just looked like trash all the way through. And I was really, really surprised by that. Some of our TV movies have looked much, much better than this film. As with most horror movies, I'm always just amazed by the stupid things that people do. Like if you're trying to prove that there's a ghost there and you're a photographer, like that is your job, maybe take a picture of the fireplace that's on at night or something. You know, maybe take some pictures of these weird teeth bottles and teeth vines. You know, that it never seemed to have happened. And then when he did take pictures, he wouldn't share them with anybody. It was just a really, really strange movie. They kept christening the homes, and in those moments when they were christening rooms, I got boobs and butts in my head, and I was ready, and I was excited for a few minutes, and then as soon as the shirts would come off, they would fade to black. So that was sad. That was sad. This is not a cinematic triumph by any means.
Well, Miss Heather, would you like to add anything to that?
Sure, I like this movie. Put him on. Put him on. Go ahead. You guys go right ahead. I wish I had a crown or something because I'd like to put on a crown right now.
First, wait a minute. First she shushes us. Now she comes in with this irrelevant opinion. I can't. I have to go.
Good, leave me on. I'll take the next 30 minutes and lecture people how this is actually an engaging film.
Oh what? What movie? Did you watch The Conjuring too?
No, I watched The Conjurer.
Okay. Well,
I like The Conjuring though too. I like this movie, and I like this one after the other. But I'm going to say it again, Courtney. Let me see if I can get you to make that noise. I like.
Heather, you keep going on mute.
Every time she says it, it cuts out.
Every time.
What the heck is going on?
How much you love this film, you go on
I
mute.
think Heather's computer is making good choices for her, so she does not accidentally step in a pile of something with her.
Oh, I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it when I first saw it, and I enjoyed it again. Look, killing tree lady.
How dare you bring that up to me?
At least the trees stayed the same time, and knew where they were going without a map.
He didn't need the map.
He did, clearly.
The killing tree was full of joy. There was no joy in this film.
There wasn't supposed to be joy in this movie. There was not supposed to be joy in this movie.
Jason, I'm unhexing you immediately for saying that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed The Killing Tree only after talking about it for months on end.
It's the movie that never goes away on the show.
It doesn't.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing that it's my favorite movie, but I'm not the one that brings it up all the time.
Well, and it's not us either. We literally were stopped in Paganacon at the event in Minneapolis, and it was mentioned.
It's because it's
becoming a thing.
Unlike this.
No, this will not become a thing. It's not a cinematic triumph. It's not going to win awards, but I enjoyed it. And I love these slow-moving ghost witch films. I'm fascinated by them. I'm fascinated. I had no problem following the plot and no problem following the story. I saw where it was going. It's slow and lilts along, and I think there's a brilliant use of the director knew how to use the sound and the camera to create a horror atmosphere. And I think he knew what he was doing. Was it the best horror movie ever? No. But I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Heather, I want you to turn your computer off, and then I want you to close your eyes and count to 10.
I would like the part where you just said it wasn't hard to follow the plot. Of course it wasn't hard to follow. I followed the plot because the plot was like 6 inches long and had no substance to it whatsoever.
That's what she said.
I was waiting.
And there we are at the office.
Yeah. Sorry, that was just I had to take it. It was a that's what she said joke waiting to be taken.
It was.
So can we talk about the ending? So is this all delusional in this guy's head, or was there really a witch?
Or was the woman was the wife the psycho one? Was the wife did she snap when she had the first miscarriage? And did she then make it in her mind to try to make her husband go crazy?
They leave that.
Yeah, I felt like they were trying to do some sort of Sixth Sense thing at the end, and it didn't really work very well. Like it was the big reveal, and I just didn't think it was clever enough to really warrant the big reveal.
I feel like it wasn't like for me. I see where all of these directions come from, but for me, I feel like it wasn't. There was not enough brain cells to do that, and it was just that like she looks up from the thing and she's the witch. Like she's possessed by the witch now. The witch got her.
She finds the ring. The crow drops the ring, and then she puts on the ring. And it is after she puts on the ring that she suggests saving the cabin and not actually destroying it. Because up until that point, she says, "Oh yeah, yes, destroy it." Because she was all into building their house over where the cabin was. Oh, we'll just destroy the cabin. Oh yeah, let's do that. Then she's building her garden, and then the crow drops the ring, and she puts on the ring. And now all of a sudden she doesn't want the cabin destroyed. And she said, "Oh, I thought you wanted to get rid of the cabin when we build our new house." No, she doesn't want the cabin. Let's keep the cabin. Let's stay here. I think she becomes possessed. I think the witch takes her, and then the witch becomes part of her. And then, to protect her because the witch wants a baby after and to take over. So that's what I think happens.
I do think that the husband is a little silly in so many ways, because I'm going to tell you, if anyone threatens a crow, they will go back and tell their entire murder, and they're called a murder of crows for a reason. Those crows remember things, and they will be angry, and they will be very, very angry with you. They will do everything within their power to mess with you and to hurt you. It doesn't matter if you walk away. It doesn't matter if the other crows didn't even know you. For whatever reason, these crows communicate with each other, and they go, "This person is a bad person, and we're going to do everything to make them crazy." So
that's true.
Yeah.
They
generationally
scientific.
Too.
That's their scientific proof of that.
Generationally too. Can we all just agree that the crow was the best character in the movie? Because it literally almost won the knife fight. It really did. He was like, and the crow's like, I'll kill you. I'll just kill you. Put your finger near me again.
I mean, he was trying to borrow, it seemed to me, he was trying to borrow a little bit from The Birds and a little bit from Psycho. And even with the ending, which, when you see Norman Bates in the psych ward, and he's dressed as mother, and he says, "Oh, they'll see me and they'll know that I won't even hurt a fly." Or maybe he's not dressed as mother. It's been a while, but maybe I wouldn't even hurt a fly. That's what they're going to say. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of Hitchcockian flavor.
That's
They
where it all comes
also
from.
they also borrowed a lot of that garbage that was in the garbage can that the crow was sitting on to make this. That's what I think.
Where did they borrow it from, Courtney?
From the garbage where this movie belongs.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. I don't even know. You guys watch a different movie than me.
Maybe
That's not
then,
clear.
Miss Heather, maybe you can maybe the same way that we all didn't like Killing Tree, and now we still don't like Killing Tree, but we love Miss Courtney. Maybe you can explain to us a little bit. Tell us a little bit why it is so special. Tell us why it's so good.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to say that it's not super special and it's not stellar good. I mean,
I mean, we will agree with that.
I enjoyed it. That's what I'm saying. It's that I enjoyed this and I enjoyed it it's hard for me not to like a horror film that is in this genre. I like them all, and I'm a very
I'm sorry, the comment.
I just watched Godzilla versus Kong, and let me just tell you that probably colored this because this movie is way better than that.
yeah, what? Absolutely not. Like Kong in the Hollow Earth with other like Kongs and stuff.
Literally.
Then giant monsters are fighting giant monsters. There were no giant monsters fighting giant monsters in this movie. Giant monsters fighting giant monsters always tops everything.
Yeah, there were monsters in this movie. There was a ghost witch. I love the ghost witch as a monster.
But
there is no way
Godzilla?
that ghost witch would just end Kong, Godzilla, and Mothra in one thing. Although I did like Mothra. Either way, this movie was not that bad.
It wasn't that good either.
No. It's not. I'm not going to try to convince you, because that's not my nature. You are allowed your opinions.
That is, and you are allowed your opinion. And
that's right.
I will tell you this. I will tell you that even though I gave quite a wide story, I did easily follow the plot line. I did easily follow it. And I have to admit that the photographer artist fellow reminded me of a very dear friend of mine who is a photographer, but he doesn't deal with ghost witches. So, I there was a little bit of a connection there. I was a little disappointed that it was so softcore porn that it was, corn. It was so very softcore that you would get to a point where, okay, at least there might be some exciting something, and there's nothing. Even like the fishing rod and then the gun, and I thought, ooh, give me some Shining, give me a little Stephen King here. But
see, no. I love the fact that this just lilted along with this haunting. It didn't have anything that super happened. It was all just lilting along, and I love the way he used the cinematic art and used the language. I love the way he used the sound and to create it. I love the way he used the angles of the cameras to suggest what was going on. It was an indie film. Maybe that's what is. It's not a big budget, fantastic in your face horror film. It's not going to be that. It's not that film. It's very slow. Now, it's not as artistic as The Witch, which does the same thing much more in a much better way, artistic and powerful way. This is that, but this is in that genre. But I think what's fascinating to me also is that it fits into this genre of films of these witches, and I get really into it in my book because it's fascinating how witches evolved in cinema and in movies at this point to be the oppressed and to be the abused woman. And that's what's happening at this time. It's not just the Wizard of Oz and all this stuff. You wind up at this period of time really seeing the evolution of Hollywood's witch becoming almost solely a woman who has been scorned. And then by 2010, 2015, we see it almost exclusively. You are a witch only if you have been abused, scorned, harmed, etc. And this is the beginning of that becoming regular. And to me, maybe this movie is so fascinating to me because it's the nerdy academic film person and the witchcraft scholar is what makes this so interesting to me. Maybe that's what it is.
See,
So-
I love when you talk about that, Heather, honestly, like, because most of the time when there's a movie that I like viscerally cannot believe I had to watch, you talk about that and I can get on board with that and I can like it. I love horror. I love The Ghost Witch. The Ghost Witch is my favorite.
Yeah.
This movie, calling this movie horror, it like this was like a Halloween special of Seventh Heaven, not a horror movie. That's what I felt like I was watching. Like it was the same to me. It was the same music every time. The boy who was maybe gonna be a ghost boy for a second would pop up and it would be like, like every time it was the same sound. Like it just, I feel like it being an indie movie. I love indie movies. I think indie movies are great, and usually they're a lot more artistic and pleasing and interesting with their sound and their visuals and everything else. And there were some good ones. I liked the pictures that he took. Like I thought those were really pretty to look at. But like it just, the premise was there and nothing else was. Like the acting was terrible. It was hard to watch because not because it was hard to understand, but because it was just like, I feel like I could go into my school and my students could do better. And they're little. Like they could have acted it better. But I don't know. I love when you nerd out though about the where it stands in witch history, because it's a good reminder that even though we're sitting here bashing it as it deserves to be, it's important. It is important.
And it's, you know, I don't think it's a bad film. I think it's actually a pretty good film, just overall compared to, there's many other bad films that I have that I will watch. But if you look, what was that?
Oh no!
What? Like, you know what?
The Witch from the Sea, not The Witch from the Sea.
Film it cinematically, this is not a bad film in my mind at all. I don't think the acting was that bad. I've seen a lot worse in terms of cinematic quality as well as acting, but this but the key to this one is where it fits in, and I think it's super interesting. I'm serious. If you love this type of film, look at my book at this period of time and you will see a ton of them. I mean, and there's some of them are so bad. I was confusing this one with another film. I thought this was the one, what's it called? It's not Tooth Fairy. There's two Tooth Fairy movies at this time. Both of them, again, ghost films with legends, right? And one of them has this the guy is leaving the house. He takes his shirt off. It's at night, and he decides to go into the shed where there's a wood chipper. And I'm screaming at the television, "Don't do this, a horror film. Why are you going into?" I thought that was this film. This film doesn't have any of those moments. And I think that's what it sounds like you guys are missing, is those moments of the man going into the wood chipper and the ghost film chopping him up.
I don't need violence. I just need something to happen. I guess there were two small jump scares throughout the film, but that was pretty much it. I mean, he would just kind of, look at the cabin or the shed in the back of the house and be freaked out. And then he'd go look around and there was nothing there. And then he would kind of be more paranoid and delusional about things. I don't know, it just didn't really seem to add up to 90 minutes of movie for me. I expected something else to be there. It felt really incomplete.
I think too, like exactly what you just said, Jason, like that if the movie was going to just be, it didn't need to be jump scares, but if it was going to be that like devolving mental, like you thought you were going crazy with it, like that would have been awesome. And like the Amityville Horror, the newer one with Ryan Reynolds in it, watching him devolve in that movie was terrifying when that came out. Like this could have done that and been more exciting to watch. I don't know. I think Jason,
it sounds like what you guys are saying is they didn't lean into, like, he didn't lean into some of these. He had a good premise, but he didn't lean in hard enough into some of what he was doing to make it striking. Yeah. And I didn't have that problem with it, but that sounds like what I'm hearing is like he just didn't lean into the creators didn't lean into hard enough into these ideas they had. They kind of surface surface grazed them without that, and who knows why. But again,
And
I did like it.
It looked bad. Like Courtney, this was filmed on a potato, is 100% right. And horror movies traditionally do not have large budgets. That should not be a factor in this, really. I mean, Halloween was shot for next to nothing, and that movie looks great. This movie did not look great. There was just something off about it. Like, you've heard of the soap opera-ing effect on HD TVs, where people just don't look normal or right. I felt like maybe that was what was going on or something. But there was just a real weird graininess to the film, and it looked like somebody's art school project, that felt like the level of budget for this movie.
I didn't pick up on that. I thought it was. I didn't have a problem with that at all.
It reminded me of the Claire Witch Project.
I wondered about what Taya Mackenzie was saying.
Which we haven't seen, Courtney.
I haven't seen it either. I wanted to go back to what Taya Mackenzie said. Taya asked if this film would be better if it had musical numbers. Heather, what would you think about this being a musical?
Well, I have two answers for that. I would say, my first answer is no, this is not a musical, but really deep inside, the other part of me is going, anything is better as a musical.
Yeah.
Anything is better. In fact, life would be better if it was a musical.
Let's move to Texas and get out of the city. I love you and I will move out of the city. And I'll watch you make googly eyes at your brother while he puts his arm around you inappropriately. Yeah, I think we can turn this into a musical pretty quickly.
I think
sis,
boobs and
it's good to see you. I've missed your touch, my little sister.
Crow, crow, little crow, get rock, crow. Got a ring in your pocket.
I think boobs and butts would have done real well in this movie. The sound. They should have paid Jason for the rights to that.
It's time to christen the couch in the new house. Christen the couch, take off that shirt.
Speaking of which,
anything can be a musical if we try hard enough. It's true.
We are moving on. I know normally at this point in the game we would ask if Miss Courtney Buckley has any quotes that she would like to bestow upon us.
I'd love to reiterate that this movie was written by a drunk 12-year-old and had no quotable lines whatsoever. So I was unable, even though I tried harder than I normally did. I even went on IMDb to see if there was anything that I missed. And on the IMDb page for The Conjurer, there is not even a quotes page because there was nothing quotable about it. So I will again do the one quote that I have, which is the because
bravo. That is the best quote of the entire film. I
soon to be on a shirt.
Do the bird sound, Courtney. Quote the raven.
Never mind.
I love when you make that sound. It's so good. That's the best quote of the entire movie. I wonder now, Mr. Jason Mankey. I know we're a couple minutes early. That's because we didn't really have any quotes. Jason Mankey, do we have a movie minute with you?
We do. It's not my best work, but I wanted to let everybody in on the behind the scenes discussions here at the Witches Movie Coven. We have a very active texting group. We text at all hours of the day. I sleep with my phone in a different room because we do text each other at all hours of the day.
And we're in different parts of the country. So
that's what it is.
Right. So I thought that I would read some of these text messages about the movie for all of you. So these are perhaps real texts from our all-encompassing, always active text chains. What is this week's movie? This week's movie is The Conjurer. Haven't we already done The Conjuring? Yes, but we are not doing The Conjuring. We are doing The Conjurer. Why can't we just go ahead and do The Conjuring again? I've never heard of The Conjurer. Why are we picking out these bad movies no one has ever heard of? because these movies all have witches in them, and this is the witches movie coven, and we are supposed to do witch movies. There are also 52 weeks in a year. Not every movie can rise to the level of greatness that are The Killing Tree or Your Majesty. And this show has been on for over a year, so we have to watch a lot of movies. I'm not sure you can really call The Conjurer a movie. It felt more like an unfinished student film starring that guy from Mad TV alongside Willie Nelson and Bo Duke. I feel like we should be getting paid more to watch movies like The Conjurer. Is tonight's movie The Conjuring? No, scroll back up the text messages. Tonight's movie is The Conjurer. I don't think this movie even really had a conjurer in it, but I do feel like I was conned into watching it. These could be real texts from our text chain.
Amazing.
So I'm just going to tell you right now that I'm going to start putting in far worse movies than this into our schedule, since I've been designated as a schedule keeper. So you guys can really, maybe you'll appreciate The Conjuring, The Conjurer.
You did it too.
It's very easy because The Conjuring is so fabulous. And it overshadows
the movie. What is it called? Superstition, 1981. I didn't watch it, but I heard it was awful, and it has a haunted ghost witch in it. So, but it also it has some murderers. So, like the kids that end up in an old house and get. I've not seen it yet, so that one may be really lousy. But from what I heard, it is really lousy.
Superstition.
Heather's taking notes.
I'm taking notes. Any others?
Do not write down The Witch That Came from the Sea.
The Witch That Came from the Sea. It is.
Don't write that down.
Witch.
Don't write it down.
She came from the sea. She came from the sea. She's the witch that came from the sea.
No, you're gonna have to sing about incestual R word grape.
Does anybody in the chat have suggestions for my list? Since
my God.
This one...
Don't make any suggestions, chat. Don't say anything.
I've got the form right here.
Don't do it.
Next week we do get to sing because it is going to be Damn Yankees.
It is indeed a musical, and it does have witchcraft, and it does have one of my favorite persons in the entire world, the devil.
Yes.
Is this about the baseball team?
It is the baseball team.
It is about the baseball team. Okay.
And
I've never seen Damn Yankees.
And when they're saying damn Yankees, they're actually meaning damn that guy from New York who was in this Conjurer movie, right?
Because he was a Yankee. They said that. We do have Rocky Horror Picture Show on the list, everyone. So, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Great choice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but there's a movie called Tarot out. Do not write that one down.
Yeah, that's already down.
No, I'll be sick that week. Well, actually,
this is a baseball musical movie. Yes, it is a baseball musical movie called Damn Yankees with a witch and the devil in it. Isn't that sound fabulous?
I think it sounds fabulous. Is there any little hint that you can give us about more than just the witch, the devil, and the Yankees? Is there any sort of little thing how would you, Heather, putting you on the spot, how would you sell this Damn Yankees to our audience members to get them to want to watch the movie for next week?
Well, there's a devil and a 300-year-old witch who has to seduce, whose job it is to seduce whoever the devil wants to get the devil to do the devil's work. And the actress in it, was actually the originator of the character on Broadway. So she is fabulous. And it won awards on Broadway, and it's a musical. And also watch it because next Wednesday is my birthday, and that's why we're doing this movie.
Isn't Ted Nugent?
Watch it for my birthday.
Isn't Ted Nugent and one of the guys from Styx and one of the guys from Night Ranger in this movie?
I can't remember the whole cast, but it's a big cast.
Yeah. Will it take us high enough?
No, it's not that, Jason.
Oh no.
I'm ignoring those. It's got a big cast, not that cast.
Do you know what my first concert was without a parent? Was Damn Yankees. Yeah. But not the musical, obviously. Ted
No.
Nugent and bad parenting, according to our producer. And perhaps correct. Perhaps correct, Rob.
Well, Heather,
Yeah.
next week I promise to be nice to your movie choice for your birthday.
Thank you.
Actually, I think Miss Courtney, I think next week you will actually enjoy. Look who's here! We have
Patty!
Just in time to
I know. And Damn Yankees was my favorite movie my whole life. I haven't seen it in a long time. Total favorite. And I wasn't even a baseball fan or a Yankee fan. I married a Yankee fan. But when I was a kid, the afternoon movie literally would pay the same movie every day for 5 days. I would run home from school to watch Damn Yankees every day. Oh, Heather, thank you. Happy birthday. Lola, whatever Lola wants. This is
whatever
great.
Lola wants, Lola gets.
That's I miss you guys. Oh my God, it's been too crazy here for me to come on and disturb all you guys. But you guys are hysterical watching from the other side of the computer screen. You're all nuts. I love that.
And Miss Patti Negri, we hear that you did not get to watch this week's film.
I did not. And now I really want to because I so often agree with Heather.
So maybe then you should lead us in, even though you haven't seen it. And we trust your intuition as a witch. We trust your intuition as a psychic medium. Why don't we vote? You can vote.
Everybody, wands up, wands down for the Conjurer.
Richard-Lael!
Mm-hmm.
I loved the crow. I really loved him. I loved the crow.
Just to respond to John Maxwell, yes, Damn Yankees, the one with Tab Hunter, Gwen Verdon. Yes, Fosse. I mean, you can't go wrong without Fosse, with Fosse involved. So yes, that is the right movie.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like we have wands up, wands down, whatever this is.
I'm getting a neutral. I was a neutral this week. Oh my goodness. I got a wands neutral.
Well, you know, I
think it went in support of you. It wasn't all the way down. It wasn't all the way down. It's neutral in support of your opinions about it.
Oh, I got a Robert Hicks. You gave me you have a wands up for this movie like me. Yay. I got one other person on my side.
I'm going on your side because of everything you said, Heather, without seeing the movie, because of everything you said. And I often agree with Robert too. So here we go.
Okay. Thanks, Alicia.
So we have just a few minutes left. Why don't we turn it back over to Ms. Patti Negri, and you can lead us out. You can have us ask whatever you need to do.
Okay. Does anybody have anything coming up that they want to do? I have been gone. I've been on the road. I miss you guys madly. Anybody going to be close to Wisconsin this weekend? I'm going to be at Spirits in the Spring. It's a fundraiser at Broadhead Manor, a very spooky old school asylum, one of those. I will be there this weekend. Filming a really fun Discovery TV show right now I can't talk about, but it should be fun when it comes out. How about anybody else? What are you guys doing? Richard-Lael.
Well, I am easy to find. I always like to pause there. I am easy to find. I am the Gentleman Psychic. I am everywhere. The good Gentleman Psychics are sold. I am Richard-Lael, Lillard. I'm a little bit of everywhere. I'm here in New Orleans. I teach at University of Magicus. I've got a class coming up on Saturday where I talk about haunted houses, being built haunted, and how to incorporate haunted housing in your own world. So that's what I have at University of Magicus. You can get my pillow right up here at Mystery Control. You can get things. Miss Courtney Buckley is, of course, you can get shirts with our quotes on it. You can get Patty's Power Panties. You can get all kinds of wonderful goodies on there. And that's where I am.
Thank you so much, Miss Courtney.
That's me. I have probably not a lot coming up. I just did the Wicked Pissa Spring Parafair. That was a lot of fun. I spent way too much money, and I bought a lot of dolls. And that's I think I showed her last week. Yes. Maybe I'll name her Hattie now. That'll be her name.
Good.
Okay,
you
there we
totally
go.
Hattie.
That's Hattie now. But you can find me on all the socials at the Themes, doing all kinds of stuff. I haven't streamed video games in a while, and I've been thinking I might start back up again. So if you want to see me cry and pee my pants live on camera, you can join me on Twitch at the Themes.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason.
Tomorrow morning, I'm going to North Dakota to the North Dakota Grand Sabbath, which is a 4-day event. And so I'll be in North Dakota. And June 12th, I will be a part of LlewelynCon, a free online convention put on by Llewellyn. It's free to get in, but you do want to reserve a spot. I will be doing a presentation called Raymond Buckley, International Man of Mystery, who was not a man of mystery, but they didn't get the joke, so that's in the title of the...
Thank you very much. And Heather.
Just a note on the LlewelynCon. There are going to be, Jason is one of many who are there doing different topics. So stay, tune in to Jason's, and also check out before. I can't remember the date it starts, but it's 2 weeks long. There's like 3 or 4 people a day, and it is all free. So go ahead and check out. If you look at my feeds and socials, I start posting when it is. Go to llewellyn.com and sign up. Look at all the wonderful people speaking. And then I will be at Mystic South, as I've been saying. That's coming up at the end of July. I'm doing 2 workshops. I actually am on the board, so I'm usually running around like a crazy witch, taking care of stuff. But I will be doing my doll craft workshop, and I will be doing another one on what the meaning of a witch is over time, and talking more about ghost witches and abused women and all that kind of stuff. And then Charles-Oz, I just want to mention real quick, if you're interested in going to Charles-Oz, I just got a message that tickets to various things are starting to sell out there. They're getting a lot of attention. So look up Charles-Oz online if you're interested in going. Apparently, there's a lot of people wanting to go this year. So go ahead and check it out and get tickets early. That is not until the end of September. And other than that, I'm just here working with my authors as always, and meeting with my Coven every Wednesday.
You can be your cousin.
Everything is ambiguous now. Everything after this movie, it's all ambiguous. So.
You might be my sister. I might be a creeper. You never know.
My brother, my husband, my contractor. I don't know.
All the same. Anyway, somebody did ask. Yes, I will be here next Wednesday. I will be here for my favorite movie, Damn Yankee. So everybody, really, this is like such a classic. You have to see it. You have to see it.
I'm so sad I'm not going to be here next week. I'm not. It's not personal, Heather. It's just Ari has a work trip. So,
I don't take it personally.
Yeah,
I do. We have one more minute and one more thing to do. I would say we could do this or that or cackle, but I didn't see the movie. Is there anything we could do? What are we doing?
The crow.
And end it with Courtney's crow noise. There was a request.
Noises, yes. Yes. Are you guys game? Yeah.
I'm game.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.